billion, and Philippine High School for the Arts 100.516 million. In terms of new appropriations, which is subject to congressional approval, the total proposed budget of the DepEd, including its attached agencies, amounts to 714.163 billion, representing an increase of about 5.28% or 35.846 billion higher than the fiscal year 2023 level of 678.317 billion. The 756.849 billion proposed budget of the Department of Education, Office of the Secretary Proper, will be used to support the programs and activities aligned with the Matatag agenda that aims to address the basic education challenges of the country. Among the major programs of the department for fiscal year 2024 include the government assistance and subsidies with an allocation of 39.33 billion, operations for elementary and secondary schools with 37.66 billion, basic education facilities or the school building program with 33.76 billion, new school personnel positions with 26.20 billion, textbooks and other instructional materials with 12.04 billion, school-based feeding program with 11.71 billion, DepEd computerization program with 8.88 billion, general and management supervision with 8.88 billion, flexible learning options with 4.28 billion, basic education curriculum with 4 billion, learning tools and equipment with 3.95 billion, last mile schools program with 3 billion, quick response fund with 3 billion, human resource development for personnel in schools and learning centers with 2.43 billion, and disaster preparedness and response program with 2.16 billion. As mentioned by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. in his State of the Nation address, nagsisimula ang lahat sa edukasyon. Ito ay para palakasin ang isip at kakayahan ng bawat Pilipino. He further highlighted that learning recovery will be at the forefront of the education agenda. In view of the foregoing, may I earnestly appeal to my esteemed colleagues of this august chamber to join me in supporting the proposed budget of the Department of Education. This budget will enable them to carry out their the best possible basic education for all our learners to become competent, job-ready, active, responsible, and patriotic citizens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This representation is now ready to answer questions from our colleagues.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Gabriel H. Bordado Jr. of the 3rd District of Camarines Sur to interpret the sponsor on the proposed budget of the Department of Education.
The Honorable Bordado of the 3rd District of Camarines Sur is recognized to interpolate the sponsor.
Thank
Please
you,
proceed.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the completion rates for secondary education and higher degrees in the Philippines are significantly lower than desired. Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, what measures can the Department of Education implement to ensure equitable access to quality education throughout all levels of schooling?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the Department of Education has recently launched its Matatag agenda in order to provide accessible, equitable, and quality basic education. And several features of Matatag agenda is one is in making the curriculum relevant. Second, it's the taking of steps to accelerate delivery of basic education through its facilities and resources. Of course, another feature is taking good care of learners and giving support to teachers. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Sponsor, Mr. Speaker, the Philippines' performance in international assessments, like the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA, has been consistently low. What strategies can be put in place to improve student performance in subjects like reading, science, and mathematics to bring the country's education system at par with global standards?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, as mentioned, that the Matatag curriculum has been launched, and as part of this curriculum, the National Learning Program has been adopted. The National Learning Recovery Program has 5 sub-programs. 1, National Learning Camp. 2nd, National Reading Program. 3rd, National Mathematics Program. 4th, National Science and Technology Program. And 5th, other similar programs implemented to support learning recovery efforts. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you again, Madam Sponsor. Mr. Speaker, the pandemic exacerbated existing educational challenges and led to a significant number of learners being left behind. Now, Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, how can the government address the learning gaps that have widened due to the pandemic, particularly for disadvantaged students?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, recognizing these learning gaps, it is actually part of the programs that will be addressed by the sub-programs under the National Learning Recovery Program. As mentioned, the 5 sub-programs, as I mentioned earlier, I have enumerated the 5 sub-programs, and this aims to address the learning gaps mentioned by His Honor, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Sponsor. Mr. Speaker, teacher quality and support issues have been identified as major concerns, including an attractive teaching profession prospects and misalignment between teacher training and curriculum needs. Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, what policy changes can enhance teacher recruitment, training, and overall well-being to positively impact student learning outcomes?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, to address this concern, part also, Matatag curriculum is the teacher quality, improving the teacher quality. And there are several programs for teacher professional development that is being implemented by the department. And it includes the teachers induction program, the superintendent programs, the higher order thinking program, to name a few, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
According to the National Expenditure Program, Mr. Speaker, classroom teachers would be given 5,000 in cash allowances to augment expenses for teaching supplies and materials, for internet and communication expenses, and for annual medical examination. Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, will this cash allowance be given on a monthly basis or will it be on an annual basis?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, this will be given on an annual basis, Mr. Speaker. Once a year.
Once a year. Do you think, Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, this is enough to address the problems and concerns of the teachers regarding teaching materials and other activities?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, the department recognizes the concern of His Honor. In fact, several bills are already pending in Congress as to the proposal on how these can be improved in the future, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, is it possible to do it on a monthly basis?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, since this is being implemented through a Republic Act, then whatever improvement or recommendations that we see appropriate to improve this concern, it will be up to Congress to decide whether to consider the proposed bills being submitted to this chamber, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, let it be on record that I fully support the move or the proposal to increase the salaries of teachers immediately. But, Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor. Mr. Speaker, the practice of mass promotion has resulted in students advancing without mastering fundamental skills, leading to poor learning outcomes. How can the government address this practice and ensure that students are adequately prepared for higher levels of education?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, there is no, as of this moment, there is no policy on mass promotion. To address this issue, DepEd provides support for teachers through the following. 1, conduct of collaborative expertise sessions. 2, use of assessment data. 3rd, monitoring learner progress for immediate and targeted intervention. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Sponsor. Mr. Speaker, the national assessment tests and localized assessments have faced criticism for failing to accurately measure learning outcomes. How can the assessment system be restructured to provide accurate data for curriculum improvement and to identify necessary interventions for struggling students?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, the Department of Education through the Bureau of Education Assessment conducts the following activities. 1, analysis and utilization of assessment reports. 2, adoption of the National Learning Recovery Program. 3rd, creation of test primers for the NAT-like and PISA-like assessments. 4th, engagement with partners to boost its capacity to conduct large-scale assessments. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Sponsor. Mr. Speaker, prolonged lockdowns and lack of face-to-face classes have raised concerns about students and teachers' mental health. Now that classes are back to face-to-face, what steps can be taken to prioritize mental health support within the education system, and how can this support be effectively integrated into the curriculum?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, the Department of Education recognizes these concerns on mental health, not just mental health problems amongst teachers, but with learners as well. And there are several programs being implemented by the Department of Education related to mental health. One, the homeroom guidance curriculum. Second, there are 10,000 trained in psychological first aid activities. Then there is also Lusog Isip Kabataan Education online platform as partnered with the USAID. And there is also the Katatagan Teacher Training as partnered with Natasha Goldborn Foundation. And mental health screening tool plus assessment tool, DepEd DOH referral system, Barkada Contra Droga plus integration with adolescent health programs. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Sponsor. Mr. Speaker, the Citizens EdCom initiative highlights private sector involvement in education reform. How can the government effectively collaborate with private entities to bring about transformative change in the education sector? And what role can the private sector play in enhancing educational outcomes?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, there are several programs under the Department of Education that involves public and private partnership. To name a few, this includes GASPE, the voucher system, the Private Education Office, the Government Assistance Subsidies Office, and the NTWG Complementary Framework for Private and Public Schools. And this is in partnership with ADB, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Madam Sponsor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to Her Excellency, Madam Sara Duterte, the Secretary of Education and Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, next to interpellate the sponsor, I move that we recognize Representative Raul Daniel Manuel of the Kabataan Party List.
Representative Manuel is recognized to interpolate the sponsor. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Maayong hapon sa tanan. Would the sponsor yield to some questions?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Magsimula muna tayo, Mr. Speaker, sa mga dapat na gawin ng DepEd in line with its mandate. Mr. Speaker, this is about face-to-face classes. Mr. Speaker, ang sabi po ng DepEd sa committee level budget briefing, lahat daw ng mga basic education institutions ay nagkakonduct na ng full face-to-face class. Would DepEd through the sponsors still stand by that figure, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the Department of Education is, while some of the schools are adopting face-to-face learning, but the department also allows blended learning among schools if the situation calls for it, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Pero Mr. Speaker, ang status quo natin ano siya? Ibig sabihin, kung wala pa namang mga kalamidad o mga untoward incidents, then ang default na ba ngayon sa lahat ng mga basic education institutions ay full face-to-face po ang kinakonduct nila?
That is correct, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Ayun. Mr. Speaker, meron po tayong mga case studies showing na hindi po totoo na ang default sa mga basic education institutions ay full face-to-face. Mr. Speaker, halimbawa po, West Fairview Elementary School. Meron po silang blended classes kasi kulang ang classrooms. Marami pong mga estudyante per class, 50 to 60. Inulat po ng isang magulang na meron siyang anak sa West Fairview Elementary School. Mr. Speaker, ang pasok po doon Monday to Wednesday, face-to-face. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, Monday and Wednesday. So 2 araw lang pala, face-to-face. Pero Tuesday and Thursday, online. Friday, Mr. Speaker, alternate na online and face-to-face. Another, Mr. Speaker, sa Arellano University High School, hindi full face-to-face ang senior high school dahil salitan ang paggamit ng room. Meron pong room, nagro-rotate po doon ang 4 na klase, Mr. Speaker, across all strands. Sa kanilang junior high school, Monday to Tuesday, online, Wednesday to Friday, face-to-face. And pangatlo, Mr. Speaker, sa Jose Rizal University, senior high school, meron po silang subject, Mr. Speaker, face-to-face ng Monday and Tuesday, tapos online, Thursday and Friday. So, Mr. Speaker, these are actual experiences disproving the figure of DepEd na full face-to-face ang default sa lahat ng mga paaralan, Mr. Speaker. Ano po ang komento doon ng DepEd?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, as I earlier mentioned, that blended learning is allowed by the department depending on the situation of the school, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Speaker, ang mga nabanggit nating case studies, hindi po sila nagbe-blended learning or nag-online class dahil merong bagyo o merong calamity, Mr. Speaker. Ito po ang araw-araw na sitwasyon sa kanila na hindi po full face-to-face. Kaya, Mr. Speaker, kung may confidential funds ang DepEd at marami pong sinusurveil na mga kung ano-ano, pero ang basic po na task ng DepEd sana ay alamin ang konkretong kalagayan sa ating mga basic education institutions. Malinaw, Mr. Speaker, na sa basic na pag-compile, pag-collect ng data, ay may pagkukulang po ang ahensya, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the department recognizes the need for construction of more classrooms, and that is a fact. And in fact, the department, through its proposal, is requesting for additional fund for the construction of a school building to address the congestion problems in schools, especially in the National Capital Region. And that is being addressed through this proposed funding, which up to Congress to approve this said request, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, sa atin po, we support yung pagtaas ng budget para sa mas maraming mga classroom, Mr. Speaker. Sa totoo nga lang po, if we look at the figures sa budget ng education, totoo po, mataas. Pero syempre, Mr. Speaker, kung kaya pang taasan, kasi nga ang infrastructure natin na 1.4 trillion pesos, Mr. Speaker, ang focus po nito ay mga big ticket infrastructure. Kung pwede nga po, dapat yan mga classrooms. Significant ang share ng classrooms, hospital at iba pa, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, while gusto nating damihan ang classrooms, ang napansin po natin sa Department of Education, parang ginagawang excuse ang pagkakaroon ng blended learning. Ibig sabihin po parang, okay, kulang ang classrooms ngayon, makontento na lang dun sa mababang budget for more classrooms dahil nandiyan naman ang blended learning. And Mr. Speaker, ito ang nangyayari sa maraming paaralan. Para hindi magsiksikan sa mga classroom, kaysa magpatayo ng dagdag na classroom, nag-online na lang sa ilang mga araw during the weekday. So Mr. Speaker, ano ba ang konkretong mga hakbang para mapabilis natin ang pagpaparami ng ating mga classroom?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, to say that kontento na lang ang Department of Education na hindi magtayo ng classroom is inaccurate. In fact, the Department of Education is consistent in its request for additional funding for the construction of building so as to address the congestion problems in our schools, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, ang na-observe po kasi natin, kahit sa mga paaralan, wherein hindi pa naman ganun kalakas ang internet connection, pinipilit po sila, Mr. Speaker, na mag-blended learning. Ibig sabihin po, dahil nga kulang ang classroom, pero wala din naman sila internet connection, pero ang default na lang na tugon, sige, mag-blended kayo. Mr. Speaker, this puts the burden upon schools. Kesa po tayo sa national government, ang mas magkaroon ng upper hand sana at initiative para hindi na lamang masanay ang ating mga paaralan na sila ang pinapag-suffer natin, Mr. Speaker, sa kakulangan ng pondo tsaka sa top level na policy na blended learning ang nagiging state policy natin ngayon on education. So ano pang comment ng ating sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the observation of His Honor in terms of congestion and the need for school building is accurate. And again, to emphasize, the Department of Education is consistent in its efforts to address the classroom shortage among our schools. And in fact, this proposal for 2024 budget is an indication that the department is committed to address these problems. Again, if the Congress, as having the power of the purse, recommends for more budget for the construction of building, then that would be very welcome, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, sa current po na budget ng DepEd, in how many years po natin makuklose yung gap sa classroom shortage, given ang pondo na meron ngayon ang DepEd?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, per record, the Department of Education is targeting for 20 years for the department to be able to complete the classroom shortage of the schools.
So 20 years, Mr. Speaker. At least may ganun pong figure ang DepEd, pero tingin natin, Mr. Speaker, sobrang tagal pa rin talaga nun, lalo na gusto nga natin ma-address ang learning poverty, Mr. Speaker. Tapos ngayon, milyon-milyon ang ating mga basic education students. Kaya din talaga, kung may pondo naman po for confidential funds across agencies, aside po sa pag-defend natin sa West Philippine Sea, isa din sana sa mga paglipatan ng confidential and intelligence funds, Mr. Speaker, ay ang ating mga classrooms. Because 20 years would really be too long, Mr. Speaker. Sa definition po, Mr. Speaker, ng DepEd for classroom or school congestion, Mr. Speaker, aside sa ratio ng pupils to classrooms, taken din po ba into consideration ang ratio ng pupils sa land area ng mga paaralan, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the department has a standard size for the classroom, and this is for 40 learners per classroom ratio, and not taking consideration the land area. But of course, in the construction of building, land size is also being considered. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, so from the standpoint of DepEd, pag sinabi po nating school congestion, ano po ang definition na ginagamit ng ahensya to classify schools na, okay, dito congested, dito hindi?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, as to the congestion of the classroom, the DepEd uses a classroom to student ratio for it to consider a classroom to be congested. This is based on the following criteria. For class size for kindergarten, the standard is 25 learners maximum of a class of 30. Tama? it's 25 to a maximum of 30. For grade 1 to 2, it's 30 in a class, maximum of 35. For grade 3, it's 30 in a class, maximum of 35. For grade 4 and junior high school, it's 40 in a class, maximum of 45. And senior high school, 40 learners in a class. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to land information or land area naman, no? Impormasyon on the land area of our schools, Mr. Speaker. Kasi bahagi din to ng accounting natin, ano na ang land area ng mga schools, possible ba magtayo ng mga bagong building or dagdagan ng floors. Mr. Speaker, ano ang sistema ng DepEd for collecting land area information?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, actually there is no basis in identifying the land. It actually depends on the available land in the locality, like in terms of donated lands or lands that are being utilized by DepEd through use of RAC or other government facilities that are authorized for DepEd to utilize, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Speaker, kung wala pong ganong sistema, hindi din natin na-factor in ang land area para mas maging realistic po ang ating mga targets to address school congestion.
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, as of this moment, the Department of Education is doing its collection, is collecting data through mapping. And this is being conducted as we speak, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, next topic po tungkol naman sa comprehensive sexuality education kasi bahagi ng mga dapat na gawin ng DepEd under the RH law ay tiyakin na dapat nasa curriculum ang comprehensive sexuality education. Mr. Speaker, merong inilaan for this year, 2023, na 777 million pesos, special provision for the training of implementers of sexuality education. Ano na po ang status ng paggamit ng pondo na ito?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, the mentioned amount for the CSE or Comprehensive Sexuality Education is being utilized for curriculum for in-service training for teachers and for curriculum development. And in terms of operations, a portion of the fund was used for integrated services for adolescent health and for specific support services like teen centers, iron supplement, menstrual hygiene, and the like. And there is also a utilization for integrated learner support service as part of the CSE program, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, so far ngayong 2023, out of the 777 million, magkano na po ang nagastos ng DepEd para ma-implement ang mga nabanggit ng ating sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, I cannot give exact figure as of this moment because this school year has just started and these programs is continuing, but of course, this has to be rolled out. We have started the school year, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
So Mr. Speaker, ano po ang status ng implementation nito? And also Mr. Speaker, ang pagtuturo rin talaga na bahagi ng curriculum ang comprehensive sexuality education. Ano po ang status nito ngayon?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the programs that I have mentioned earlier, in the programs that I've mentioned earlier, the curriculum development and the training of teachers has already been conducted, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, ilang mga paaralan na sa bansa ang merong teachers na na-train na for eventually being able to teach comprehensive sexuality education?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, all teachers are being trained because this is part, all schools are trained because of, it's part of INSET. In-service training, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
So Mr. Speaker, ibig sabihin po, confident tayo na kung pupunta po ako sa any random basic education institution, sigurado po ako, Mr. Speaker, na meron silang teachers na na-train na to teach comprehensive sexuality education.
That is correct, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, meron na po bang costed implementation plan para sa comprehensive sexuality education?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, yes, there is already a plan, and to break down, 66 million is intended for in-service training for teachers and 10 million for curriculum development and 125 million for integrated service for adolescent health, 3 million for ARH specific support services, and 100 million special provision for ARH. Sir Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, can we request from the sponsor na mabigyan po tayo ng written submission nung lahat po ng mga nabanggit regarding comprehensive sexuality education?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we will comply.
Mr. Speaker, when can we expect to receive those submissions?
Tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kasunod po, Mr. Speaker, ito ay mga ang nabanggit po ng DepEd Secretary regarding dropouts. Mr. Speaker, nabanggit po ng DepEd Secretary na dahilan daw ang mga rally kaya maraming mga nagda-drop out sa basic education. Can the department still stand by that position?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the Secretary of the Department of Education denies that there is a statement mentioned na maraming nada-drop out dahil sa rally. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, pwede po nating i-quote ang DepEd Secretary. Mr. Speaker, ito din ay nasa iba't ibang media outlets, Mr. Speaker, nung sinabi ng DepEd Secretary na ang mga rally daw ay siyang dahilan bakit may mga dropouts. And Mr. Speaker, nung tinatanong ang DepEd Secretary, ano ang tugon dun sa issue ng maraming mga nagda-drop out na mga kabataan, kesa po magbigay ng mga hakbang sana ano ang gagawin ng DepEd regarding that, ang naging sagot po, dineflect ang usapin, Mr. Speaker.
Mr.
ano pang
Speaker,
comment?
Your Honor, there was no statement from the Secretary of the Department.
Mr. Speaker, parang kagaya din po kasi ito ng tugon sa atin ng Chair ng National Youth Commission na nakuquote po sila at mismo mga matagal na ring media outlets, Mr. Speaker, ang nagsasabi. Pero kapag po kailangan natin silang pagpaliwanagin regarding their statements, dinedenay na po ang kanilang mga statement, Mr. Speaker. So ano pong comment ng ating sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, in fact, the Secretary of the Department, the Vice President, has issued a statement requesting for media outlets to correct their reports so as not to misinform the public, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, tingin natin ang mga media outlets naman ginagawa ang kanilang trabaho para mas malaman din ng ating mga kababayan ano ang positions, ano ang pronouncements ng ating mga public officials. So kung hindi din naman pala mga rally ang dahilan ng dropouts, ibig sabihin, Mr. Speaker, babalik din yun sa atin sa pamahalaan. Ano ba talaga ang mga konkretong hakbang natin regarding dropping out of our students? So Mr. Speaker, hindi kung babalik tayo dun sa issue, ano na po ang mga ginagawa ng DepEd para hindi na dumami ang mga nagda-drop out ng mga kabataan?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, the department is implementing the non-formal school alternative learning system so as to accommodate those young people, out of school youth, for them to be able to avail of the education service of the country, of the government, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, ano ang mga dahilan bakit marami ang dropouts sa basic education?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, based on the study conducted by the Department of Education, they identified several causes for dropout. One is the economic and livelihood reason. Second, lack of interest among young people. Third, migration of families because of employment. And with that, the department is implementing child-friendly policies so as to encourage our out-of-school youth to go back to school. And there are also programs for learners at risk being implemented for these possible dropouts, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
So malinaw, Mr. Speaker, na hindi po kasama ang mga rally sa dahilan kung bakit may mga estudyante tayo na nagda-drop out, Mr. Speaker. Now, ilan na po sa ngayon ang bilang ng dropouts? Kasi at first, Mr. Speaker, reported na 2 million yung hindi pa nakakapag-enroll as of the enrollment period for school year 2023-2024. So ngayon po, Mr. Speaker, at this time, kung may mga nakahabol na nag-enroll, edi ilan na po ang ating official na bilang ng mga nag-drop out?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, for this school year, we do not have a figure yet. But for school year 2022 to 2023, records of
Mr.
the
Speaker,
department...
allow me to butt in. Kasi ang question ko pa, Mr. Speaker, ay for the upcoming school year. Kung meron po tayong budget for surveillance sa ibang mga bagay, Mr. Speaker, ito po basic information na dapat ready po ang DepEd na sagutin.
Mr. Speaker, the encoding of the figures is still ongoing, and that is why the department could not provide the figure for this school year. But for 2022 and 2023, we can provide now the figure, and it's 349,788 dropouts for public school. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Yun lang po, Mr. Speaker, medyo nakaka-disappoint po na hindi ready ang DepEd na ibigay ang ganong figure. Pwede naman po, Mr. Speaker, while ongoing ang pag-collect ng data, na-update natin regularly ang ating figures with the use of electronics at iba pang mga pamamaraan para mapabilis po yan, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, regarding the memo na ginawa na pong diktadura, ang phrase na diktadurang Marcos. Mr. Speaker, hindi po ba ito magiging ambag sa state-sponsored disinformation? Dahil po factual naman and internationally recognized ang fact na diktador po si Ferdinand Marcos Sr.
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, the reason behind the removal of Marcos in the terminology diktadurang Marcos is because of the main consideration on to be able to be consistent in the framing of that portion of the new Araling Panlipunan curriculum, which is focused on historical themes and concepts and not each presidential term. Historical themes and the analysis of these may be in the context of one or more presidential themes. The following phrases are now used: pagpapatupad ng diktadura, epekto ng diktadura o paglaban sa diktadura. Any discussion on dictatorship in the Philippines in the 1970s will inevitably point to a discussion on the administration of former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, sa panahon po na meron talagang mga systematic attempts to make the people forget what happened in the past. Mr. Speaker, dapat nga nakapanguna tayo lalo pa nating pagbutihin, di ba? Yung paano natin na ituturo ang ganung mga topics. So kesa mag-step back po tayo, Mr. Speaker, dapat nga umabante pa tayo. And again, Mr. Speaker, wala namang diktadura kung wala pong diktador. So sino po yon ang tinutukoy ng diktadura, Mr. Speaker? Kaya mainam talaga mapangalanan yon. Lalo, Mr. Speaker, kung ang PCO hindi siya proactive sa pag-counter ng fake news. Tapos, Mr. Speaker, ang AFP pa sasabihin nakatulong sa ekonomiya ang martial law. Tapos, Mr. Speaker, ang DepEd din nagsistep back sa pagtuturo nun. So ano na lang ang kahinatnan ng ating mga kabataan who would forget and not learn from history? So yun lang, Mr. Speaker, sana makonsider pa rin yun ng DepEd kasi hindi po tayo sang-ayon sa ganong memorandum, Mr. Speaker. Now,
Mr. Speaker, that is the opinion of His Honor, and he is entitled to his opinion.
The Honorable Manuel has 2 more minutes.
yeah, Mr. Speaker, ito po tungkol sa ito na, confidential fund. Mr. Speaker, sa education community, nandyan ang SUCs, nandyan din ang CHED. Mr. Speaker, sila nga hindi nagre-request ng confidential fund. What makes DepEd special para bigyan siya ng confidential fund?
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, the department, on the question of why DepEd need confidential fund, the department is mandated to provide accessible, equitable, and quality basic education, which necessarily includes the provision of a safe and enabling learning environment. Education and national security are inevitably intertwined. Today, our schools are confronted by several threats on recruitment to terrorist and violent extremist groups, drug trade, sexual abuse, child pornography, as well as organized criminal activities and scams against our learners, teachers, and non-teaching personnel. Confidential funds are necessary in gathering intelligence for the formulation and implementation of target programs, activities, and projects to combat threats to security in our
Okay,
schools
Mr. Speaker, since
and
konti
for
na lang po
our
yung time ko,
personnel.
since I think online available na rin naman po yan. Mr. Speaker, pwede din kasi yung gamiting justification ng SUCs natin tsaka CHED. Pero Mr. Speaker, they never use those arguments para manghingi po sila ng confidential fund. And Mr. Speaker, sinabi din in defense of the confidential fund of DepEd, sabi po ng dating AFP Chief of Staff, Esperon, sabi po niya, dapat lang na may confidential fund ang DepEd para daw matiyak ang loyalty ng mga tao sa gobyerno, matiyak na hindi sila espiya. Tapos Mr. Speaker, ang sabi pa, hindi dapat kino-question ng Kamara ang confidential fund ng DepEd. So Mr. Speaker, to wrap up na lang, Mr. Speaker, hindi po katanggap-tanggap na uutusan po tayo, Mr. Speaker, sa Kamara, ano yung pwede nating gawin at ano yung hindi natin pwedeng gawin. Kasi trabaho po natin ito, Mr. Speaker, mag-scrutinize. So kung ganito ang mga arguments in defense of the confidential fund of DepEd, dapat na lang din talaga, wala po itong confidential fund. Yun na lang, Mr. Speaker. Salamat.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the next to interpellate is the Honorable Arlene Brosas of Gabriela Party List. I now move that we recognize Honorable Brosas.
The Honorable Brosas of the party list, Gabriela, is recognized to interpellate the sponsor. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, may compliance po ba sa transparency seal? Mr. Speaker, will the good sponsor yield to a few questions, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, may transparency seal ba? May compliance po ba sa transparency seal ang DepEd?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Your Honor.
Kasi Mr. Speaker, Yung transparency seal, Mr. Speaker, ito yung section 98, no, ng both special provisions and general provisions ng 2024 GAB, Mr. Speaker, na dapat yung lahat, no, isa publiko ng mga ahensya ang ilang mahahalagang mga datos ukol sa mga opisyal, budget at programa, proyekto nila. Tapos particularly sa DepEd, Mr. Speaker, may special provision sa budget mandating the posting of certain details, no, accomplishments, etc. Mr. Speaker, yung SP 15, posting of all newly created and unfilled teaching positions, names of newly appointed teachers within the current year. SP 17, filling up of vacant positions, the DepEd shall take all appropriate measures to fill up its existing vacant teaching and non-teaching positions.
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, the department is compliant, and in fact, these information are being posted in the website.
Mr. Speaker, bakit nakakuha po tayo ng pagtingin online, nakakita po tayo online, wala pong transparency page. Hindi pa updated yung mga dokumento at datos na meron, Mr. Speaker. Tapos, ang mapapansin na ang last date ng mga dokumento ay 2019 pa. At yung iba may error 403 pa. So we note the zero compliance of the DepEd to the entire general provision on transparency as well as its special provision under its 2022 and 2023 budget, such as the mandate to post data on the hiring of new teachers and the implementation of the e-GASPE funds, Mr. Speaker. Kahit po si Secretary Liling Briones dati have complied with these transparency provisions, Mr. Speaker.
Sir Speaker, Your Honor, as we check now the website of the department, there is a transparency page, Mr. Speaker.
So may transparency page. So nandun po yung lahat ng ito, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, that is reflected on the transparency page, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Speaker, kailangan po, no, talagang laging on hand yung mga dokumento. Kasi kahit po yung DPWH may updated and substantial compliance dito, Mr. Speaker. Mahalaga po ito, marka po ito ng mabuting pamamalakad, wastong paggamit sa pera at buwis ng mamamayan. Respeto rin po ito sa karapatan ng mamamayan, taong bayan sa impormasyon at access sa pampublikong mga dokumento, record at datos. No? Mahalaga ito para sa mga researchers, mga akademiko, mga taga-media, at kahit po mga sinong citizen na interesado sa good governance and public transparency, lalo na po sa usapin ng pondo. So, Mr. Speaker, kasi nanghihingi po kami ng data, no, ng Filipino Deaf Community sa implementasyon ng DepEd sa FSL Act. Dahil bulk of the efforts on making the mandates a reality galing sa private sector groups of the Filipino Deaf Community, marami silang sinisingil like ilan ang targets at actual accomplishments sa hiring ng deaf teachers, teachers who know FSL and FSL interpreters, ilan ang targets at actual accomplishments sa production ng IMs, nasaan po yung annual reports.